Reading Paul Sperry's new book, The Great American Bank Robbery, The Unauthorized Report on What Really Caused the Great Recession. And I like his section here on page 44 about the new Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It's a huge new federal bureaucracy that will, among other things, police lenders' underwriting for, quote, traditionally underserved consumers and punish companies who do not do enough of it. The Consumer Watchdog Agency will wield a big stick in the form of an Office of Fair Lending and Equal Opportunity, whose role will be enforcing non-discriminatory access to credit. It will be staffed with bank examiners, attorneys, compliance specialists, economists, statisticians who will, quote, target areas of greatest risk for discrimination, including lending to minority small businesses. So these new diversity cops will have the power to subpoena bank documents and witnesses, as well as issue temporary orders requiring banks to cease and desist any practice deemed discriminatory. They will work with HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and Justice's own diversity police to enforce fair lending, which means banks will come under enormous political pressure to bend underwriting rules for protected classes with iffy credit. So this massive new agency has broad authority to tailor protections against discrimination in not just lending, but across the entire financial spectrum. Providing this much power to one agency is truly frightening, as they will get to set the rules and pick the winners and losers for the financial sector. And if that weren't enough, the Bureau will also oversee the placement of a diversity czar in each federal financial agency, including the Federal Reserve and its 12 regional banks. So establishing a so-called Office of Minority and Women Inclusion within each agency is the brainchild of Democratic Representative Maxine Waters, Congressional Black Caucus leader, financial reform bill conferee, now under investigation for steering federal bailout money to a troubled black-owned bank in which she and her husband held a large financial stake. Waters had direct input into CRA changes, that's the Community Reinvestment Act of 1977. So changes to that act in the 1990s, and was involved in the new round of improvements. According to her amendment to the Dodd-Frank Act, that's the Massive Financial Regulation Act, each agency shall take affirmative steps to seek diversity in the workplace of the agency at all levels of the agency, including recruiting at historically black colleges and Hispanic-serving institutions, recruiting in urban communities, placing ads in African American and Spanish newspapers, and partnering with organizations that are focused on developing opportunities